Boom! Just in the nick of time, ladies and gentlemen, I made it by 3 o'clock. I was thinking, I sent a message in the live chat saying we might be a couple of minutes late, but it is not the case today. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. My name is Brett. It is episode 1089 of Pop Culture Crisis, and I am here with my guest co-host for the day. He made it in the nick of time. Introduce yourself, sir.
What's up, dude? I'm so happy to be back. Sorry, I kind of exist in my own time zone, but just made it. My name is Mike Harlow. I have a YouTube channel where I just kind of run my mouth. It's just my name. Mike like Tyson, Harlow like Gene. So glad to be back here with you nerds.
Perfect. How you been, dude?
Good. I always just look forward to it. I'm great when I know I'm coming on here.
You got the haircut, too. Everybody was wondering.
You know, everyone, the chat is never wrong. They hate my hat. So, yeah, I like rushed to trim my own hair today. I'm not saying it's all that much better, but, you know, we're making progress.
We make do with what we've got here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
As always, guys, would you hit the like button on this episode, please? And subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Also, another heads up. So, on top of the air conditioning not working in my studio, of which I am still suffering from, luckily it's been rainy out today or the last couple of days, so I've got 2 fans on me at all times, hopefully not making too much noise, but there may be other noise that might get picked up, because if you guys remember last year, probably around the same time, there were bats in the chimney behind me. And there are apparently bats in the chimney behind me again, or at least that's what I could hear when I got back in after one of the rainstorms here today. So that's just seems like my luck. Now, it doesn't seem like the microphones pick it up thanks to the noise gate, at least when I'm not talking. I can't say for sure whether it will be picked up when I am talking. I just know that I'm going to feel more like Bruce Wayne as the day goes on.
You had bats?
Bats, so they get in the... So basically, the background behind me is basically propped up against... Let me see if you can see it in the PTZ. Yeah, so behind me here, there is there's like a chimney in that shot, and my backdrop is basically propped up against it so that it could look consistent with the backdrop from before we moved out here. And yeah, last year there was bats in there and they were making a lot of noise. Otherwise, you know, leave them be. Otherwise, I don't care. But it's not even so much that it makes noise that's distracting for the audience, because from everything that I've seen, the microphones don't pick it up when they're set to the right levels. The problem is I'll be in the middle of talking and I'll hear the bats and it'll get really distracting and I'll lose my train of thought. So that's not the most positive experience in the whole world.
I think that might have been one of the Tim Pool guests. Like, you know, a liberal woman, she takes her pants off and bats fly out.
That could be it. She could have gotten in back there. We're in the same area. All right, guys. What are we getting into today? We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. There was a quote from The Rock, which I will always call him The Rock. I'll try my best to call him by his given name today, Dwayne Johnson, but he'll always be The Rock to me. He is on the press tour right now for Moana, the live-action remake, which is, of course, getting obliterated by critics, and it's getting obliterated in its box office projections, and we'll talk about that. But while on the press tour, they started doing what they always do at these events, which is to try and feed him and them questions that will make for great sound bites that kind of delve into identity politics. And in this one interview with the guy from Variety, who in my opinion is the greatest living interviewer in history, he is so good at his job. It's just that his job is kind of evil. He tees up a question for The Rock about representation. And The Rock, you know, like a professional boxer, bobs and weaves and gets around it in an expert fashion. He gives a very diplomatic and professional answer. And it doesn't matter because Variety framed it in the quote, framed it in the X post in a way that makes it sound like he was complaining, which is why I always say these interview press circuits, they don't kind of motivate me to ditch movies because I know that these interviewers are not out with these actors' best interest at heart. They want to give them fodder so that we can talk about it on podcasts like this. And we will talk about it, except for it's not going to be in the way that Variety wants, at least in my estimation. So we will talk about that. We'll get into it. We're also going to talk about another GLAAD study has been done talking about representation in Hollywood. We'll talk about it. This one's specifically related to the movies released last year. We'll get into it. Also, there was an article from Puck News. It was in the Matt Bellani newsletter with reporting from Kim Masters. It came out about 3 days ago with unknown sources, or should I say unnamed sources in the Armie Hammer camp saying that he apparently was disgusted by the movie Citizen Vigilante when he finally got to see it. Dubious reporting at best. We will get into it. It's very interesting. I don't know if I buy it. But at the same time, I could 110% buy it because if he finds his way back to Hollywood, the last thing he's going to want to do is be tied to projects that are championed by people on the online right. So we'll look into it. I'll read the article. We'll read some analysis of it. It's very, very interesting. Either way, Uwe Boll is talking about Citizen Vigilante 2, Electric Boogaloo. So we'll talk about it. Also, we're going to talk about just why the hell reality TV sucks today, are we not?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've so much to say between insufferable alphabet people and insufferable people killing reality TV. I'm ready to go.
Perfect. Also, guys, let's get Mike a crisis party today. He needs to dance. He needs to dance today. Also, I did the maths. I did the lookings up. I got the emoji ready to put up the PCC energy drink emoji. For members, but we need to get 8 more members to do that because we've got quite a few emojis already. So if you want to join, now is the time to join as a channel member. So thank you guys so much. Just gift memberships to other people, which is very, very cool. So if you're ready,
become a member. He needs multiple members.
Exactly.
Do you remember the guy who had 2 dongs?
I just saw a news report the other day about a guy who apparently cut his dong off and lit it on fire. Did you see that?
That seems redundant to me.
I didn't
cut it
read
off and light it on fire.
I didn't read any farther because, frankly, I didn't need to. That's enough internet for one day.
Damn.
I did see that you also saw the Free Willy announcement that they're making a remake of Free Willy.
Oh, yeah. I was saying in this version, Willie is just going to be the name of a lovely Black trans woman, and she's going to be freed from she/hers oppression.
Did you ever see the original Free Willy?
When I was a little kid, I don't really remember it.
So, I just remember Michael Jackson playing in the music video. I'm going to have to rewatch it because I can guarantee you that it's going to be it would be like, do you know what the real end all be all? And I think it actually proves the importance of just how much star power matters. You know whose movies are probably not going to get remade?
Who?
Jim Carrey movies. Jim Carrey comedies are they're not going to, if they imagine trying to remake Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Now I know they've made animated adaptations of said films, but you can't remake those movies because Jim Carrey's physical comedy and his timing is a product of, who he is, and somebody else, either it goes one of two ways. Either they completely try to do it differently and it fails, or somebody tries to mimic Jim Carrey's style and that also
It'll
fails.
be a woman. It'll be a woman.
Oh, that's awful. All right.
Well, and the thing is, you can't do that. But Brett, don't give them ideas, because on the same token, how could you remake Aladdin without Robin Williams? How could you remake Beauty and the Beast? So I don't put anything past these people. I think you're summoning this into the universe. You're doing some dark magic, and we're going to get a gender-swapped Ace Ventura.
I actually thought that, the quality of the movie withstanding, the Aladdin live-action remake is one of the lesser hated of the Disney live-action remakes. And Will Smith was actually, a lot has happened. It's been a lifetime since that movie was announced and came out. And Will Smith has certainly lived 3 lifetimes since then. But, I've had to explain to Mary on the show before just how much of a cultural icon Will Smith was to my generation. So him being cast as the genie was actually pretty inspired casting, because I just don't know who else it would have been, because they didn't go the traditional comedian route like they did with with Robin Williams.
It's not even that he was terrible, as just everything was terrible. That's sort of the case with all of these Disney remakes. It's sort of like, remember when they did a remake of Psycho? It's exactly like that, where it's just everything is exactly the same but worse.
Well, they also remember they did. So I guess they're doing American Psycho with like a woman, if I remember correctly, or no.
Wait, are you talking about American Psycho 2?
No, I'm not. I'm so I know they did too.
Video hit.
I know they did. Did you like that one?
Oh, I love that one. Mila Kunis and William Shatner. I love bad movies.
I know they're remaking. I could have swore they said they were going to do a female version of it, but maybe I'm transposing it with the conversation we had about American Psycho 2 already existing. I could be. I'm not going to spread the fake news here with that one, guys. We'll get started, and maybe we'll come back to that when more comes out about it.
I thought it was supposed to be the Elvis guy is in it. Apparently, they're doing a remake
Austin
with
Butler,
Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah. Is it Austin Butler, or am I misremembering that too?
No, that's his name. Did his voice ever come back to normal? His fake Elvis voice that it just got stuck that way.
I started watching the Miami Vice movie adaptation the other night, and I turned it off and I put on Heat, and I got to thinking about how they're making Heat 2, which is based off a book, a prequel book written by Michael Mann. I think written by Michael Mann. But either way, and Austin Butler is in it, and he's cast as the Chris Shaherless character, which was Val Kilmer's character, which is actually perfect casting. He kind of has the same facial structure as Val Kilmer.
I don't know. I feel like Austin Butler and Ariana Grande are in competition for who's more full of crap.
Well, they'll have to. Austin Butler's gonna have to put on some muscle if he wants to. Actually, that's not true because he was actually pretty skinny in that movie. Was Val Kilmer? He was a pretty skinny dude in that movie. But I'm gonna have to finish watching that tonight because I got started on it. All right, it's like I watch that movie at least once a year, and usually I fast forward past the Edie bits. Maybe that's sacrilege to some people. I know the love story between Macaulay and Edie is like an important part of the movie, but whenever he's talking to her, I just fast forward. Though there's a great story about it, apparently, where like the actress Amy Brennan or Brenneman or whatever her name is didn't want to be in the movie because it was full of basically like violence and immorality, and then Michael Mann's like, that's why you're perfect for this character, because she's a moral person. You should absolutely do this role because the movie is full of a bunch of immoral people, and that like talked her into it.
Wow, today they would just be glamorizing the immoral people.
Yep.
They'd be like, yay, it's a celebration.
All right, let's move on then, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started then. Let's talk about Moana, and let's talk about The Rock dodging, moving left to right, not letting the BS journalists over at Variety try and knock him out early with a bunch of leading questions designed to get them clips on social media by turning it into a story about identity politics when The Rock was not trying to do that at all. We'll get into that in a second, but before we get started on that, let's talk about what Moana is looking at when it comes to its box office projections this weekend. We've got a lot going on with it right now. It's debuting to 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's at 37% now. Now, critics don't mean a whole lot of anything when it comes to this type of stuff. As we know, what critics think about a movie usually doesn't matter whatsoever. The bigger issue here is that it's looking to open to about $60 to $65 million, and it only had $4 million in pre-sale tickets after about a month on the market, and it's looking to open to $130 million globally, which is lower than both the Little Mermaid remake and the Aladdin remake, and that Aladdin remake was doing that in 2019 money, which is a hell of a lot more than what $130 million means now. But if you want a better comparison, Moana 2, which came out like a decade or a little bit under a decade after the first Moana movie came out, opened to $225 million domestically. Now, to be fair, that is a 5-day Thanksgiving total, like 5-day weekend Thanksgiving opening, but it opened up to over $100 million if you just count the 3 days.
Brett, get this. I looked up the budget. So for this Moana remake, $250 million budget, another $250 on marketing. And remember that movie theaters take half. Mm-hmm. So just to break even, it'll have to make like $1 billion.
I don't think they were ever expecting this one to be. I think that what they did is they hoped against hope that it was going to piggyback off the success of Moana, the Moana 2 that came out in 2024, right? The best thing they can hope right now is that we don't have to get like an Inside Out 2, or I'm sorry, an Inside Out live action. Because Inside Out 2 made $1 billion at the box office and was a huge hit. And
stop giving them ideas. You're speaking this into the universe. I guarantee you we're going to be doing a show a year from now and all of these things will have come true. We'll get the female Ace Ventura. We'll get live action Inside Out.
I want to know, does the chat, do you guys want female Ace Ventura, and who would you cast? And who would
And what about
cast?
Trans Lizzo as Free Willy?
So,
Laverne Cox.
Laverne Cox is everywhere, even Angel Studios movies these days. All right, so that's the box office that we're looking at for what's going on with Moana. It's not looking good when it comes to the release of this movie, but what was good was The Rock on the press tour, because as usual, when the actors come out to do the press junkets for these movies, as we know, and we've talked about on the show, and people in the chat have shared with us their personal experience, Pop Culture Junkie has in the chat, I'm not sure if he's watching right now, but shout out to him, is that these press tours rarely, if ever, have a way of helping these actors in these movies on the press junkets. It doesn't really get the word out the way it used to, because people take their media in differently, and clipped social media posts always kind of dissolve any and all possible context and frame things in a way that's designed to ruin it for the actor. And this is what I'm talking about. We got this clip from The Rock, and he's coming off the heels, if you guys remember recently, just the other day, we did a story on Tuesday about how he's getting crap in the press for not being political on social media. George Takei said that his silence is complicity, and Will Wheaton, dorky Will Wheaton, as she shall always be known, or Wesley, said it's so disappointing to find out that The Rock is such a coward because he refused to endorse a political candidate for president in 2024 after regretting endorsing Biden in 2020 because he said that it split his audience and he wasn't out to try and split his audience. Makes perfect sense to me, and it makes perfect sense, I think, to everybody who's not a political radical who wants you to have to speak out. But here's the thing. Now, the trade magazines are trying to feed him questions that will absolutely get him clipped. And when they couldn't get it from him, they just reframed it in the text because they know a lot of people don't even watch the clips. They definitely don't watch the full interviews, and they definitely, and a lot of them still, even beyond just not watching the full interviews, they don't watch the 1-minute clips anyways. This is what the journalist said. He said, "When was the first time you saw your culture represented that wasn't a caricature that you said, that is me there?" And then this is the problem. The Rock gave this beautiful, diplomatic, completely neutral answer that I think would have satisfied all parties involved. Not being happy with that, this is how Variety framed the post. Dwayne Johnson says he lacked cultural representation in the media growing up. Indiana Jones inspired me. So let's listen to the clip so that you can see how egregious this is. Because you can literally see him be annoyed when he gets the question. You can tell he's pissed. So here we go.
Saw your culture represented in a way that wasn't a caricature, that you said, that is me in there.
No, I don't. Other than, and this is one of the beauties, I think, and one of the blessings of Moana is that live action Moana we can show. Like, hey, this is us. When I was a kid, Indiana Jones inspired me, man. When I was like 8 years old, watching Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, I'm like, oh, I want to be that guy. But that guy didn't look like me.
Yeah. Was there a part of you that said, but I can't be him because?
No, I love that.
He literally said, was there a part of you that said, I can't be him because you don't look like him? And The Rock's like, no.
There was a part of me that said, oh, I want to be that. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was like, I want to be that. And okay, that was it. That's where it ended.
Right.
But now, I mean, if you think about it, around the world, little boys and girls who are brown-skinned, even not brown-skinned, Mark. It's like this idea of like, you're young, you want to see beyond the reef, you don't know what's beyond the reef, you have a lot of people telling you, you're good where you're at. It's like, no, not. Like, I want more. And
Okay. gave about. Did you watch the clip beforehand? Okay.
Yeah, I love how the interviewer, you can just see him like, when is he gonna talk about the queers? When is he gonna talk about the queers?
You can tell that the answer, not even that. I think this is more race related than anything else. Is they're looking for him to talk about how he felt like his race kept him down, and in The Rock pivots. And I'm gonna be honest, he kind of didn't say a whole lot of anything. But that was the only thing he had, because it was framed in such a way that he was supposed to give a very specific answer that was supposed to be something along the lines of, when I was growing up, there was nobody on screen that looked like me, therefore I didn't feel like I could accomplish anything. Now, it would be disingenuous to begin with, because he grew up in a wrestling family, and the Samoan population has a huge influence in the wrestling community. So, first of all, it wouldn't even have been true, necessarily. But he even went out of his way to pivot further, and he says little boys and girls who are brown skinned, and even those that are not brown skinned. Like, he refused to leave anybody out, because he knows that you're squandering different markets. He literally calls it a market, because he's a businessman when it comes to this stuff.
We don't like that. Bad waiting.
The problem is, guys, is that this is why you can't take these press junket quotes seriously. Now, we talked about it earlier this week, and I pointed it out then. When Lupita Nyong'o is saying stupid stuff, when Samantha Morton is saying stupid stuff, the Samantha Morton one is clipped in a way where you just hear her talking. I guarantee you that whatever question she was fed was done exactly to get that quote out of her about how women have been, I don't even remember what it was, like disempowered throughout history. You know, the question was like, so do you want to tell us about how women have been kept down their whole lives? The media
She's talking about the moon. What was it she said? Like, I don't know, some crazy shit.
The media is out to race bait. The media is out to get these types of quotes. And remember, The Rock didn't give them what they wanted in this quote, and this is how they framed it. Dwayne Johnson says he lacked cultural representation in the media growing up. What he said was that he liked Indiana Jones and that he didn't look like him. They reframed the whole thing, and they're not being genuine to the nature of what he was saying. The proper way of framing this would say the Rock looked up to Indiana Jones when he was young. That's it. That's all that's there.
They want their headlines so badly, though. Breaking news. The Rock admits he's a victim. The Rock admits he's a victim. We got him. And they really can't break this guy, and I think it pisses them off.
He's just too media trained. And the thing is, like, you can suffer in that respect. A lot of people believe that The Rock comes across as unbelievably disingenuous, and oftentimes I think he does. The problem is, it's a matter of, like, what are you looking for? I always make the joke. I say, when Tom Cruise comes out before a movie and they do the little press screening, they do the little, like, disclaimer before the movie, and it's him sitting in a chair with Christopher McQuarrie, and he's like, thank you guys so much for coming out to the movies. I couldn't do this without you guys showing up to the movie theater. Do I believe that he truly does, like, on bended knee, love the audience? Maybe. Maybe not. I'm willing to be lied to, because that's his job. His job is to appease the people that are spending money to watch his movies. At the very least, I will applaud the bare minimum of decorum from the professionals.
Yeah, I mean, people like Rachel Zegler really desperately need The Rock's or Tom Cruise's media trainer. Whoever is doing their media training is not getting paid enough.
You would think there would be well, the thing is, a lot of people believe that the point is now is that when they know a movie is going to bomb, they purposefully send them out there to do that, or at least don't stop them, because any publicity is good publicity. We did a story last week, or maybe it was done earlier this week, about how there was 2 cuts of Supergirl, and basically the studio knew, and Craig Gillespie knew a year in advance, that it wasn't hitting and that the movie wasn't going to be what they wanted it to be. So perhaps, knowing that you're about to deliver a dud, you just let them go out there and generate tons of social media impressions with divisive content, because that's better than no attention whatsoever. At least in their opinion.
Is it, though?
I know, right?
I don't know at this point. I hope that we're getting past this sort of hyper-political era of shoving the message in every interview and every second of screen time. I think we're maybe at the beginning of the end of this. At least I hope.
Do you believe that there's that the adage there's no such thing as bad publicity is true, or do you think that that's been proven false?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what your goal is. If somebody just desires attention at any cost, for somebody like Candace Owens, like, sure, there's no such thing as bad publicity for her. I feel like for people like us, there might be such a thing as bad publicity. You know, if you got bodies buried in your basement, let's ask Casey Anthony if there's bad publicity.
Oh my God. Is Casey Anthony the one that has the Substack that has like Ally and Casey Anthony's social media is crazy.
Oh, it's so good. She has in her bio, LGBTQ activist. And you know what? She murdered her child. So I think she's the perfect representation for that community.
What if Planned Parenthood made her their spokesperson?
They should do that.
Like, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna be evil, you might as well go all the way and be like a memeable level of evil. I appreciate that.
She's the perfect spokesperson.
Hi, my name is Casey Anthony. I'm here to talk to you about killing babies. That's what she will say.
Oh, we should get them to do that. We should, like, start a campaign.
All right. So, look, I think The Rock handled that perfectly. I think that he gave a perfectly diplomatic answer. I think the longer he went on, it was clear that he didn't know where he was going and he was tap dancing. And that's fine, because the question they gave him didn't deserve an answer anyways. The real answer is to tell that dude to shut the fuck up. The real answer is to be like, bro, you're trying to ruin our movie by getting yourself clips for Variety. And Variety is the best there is in the market at finding a way of reframing divisive clips online. But right now, I don't think it really matters, because like I said earlier, Moana is sitting at about 37% from critics, and it's only looking to open to $60 to $65 million, which is far under the box office opening weekend of the Moana 2 animated movie. And the first take reviews aren't doing this thing any good either. Here's Ollie London.
First of all,
oh, go ahead.
Look at this. Look at this. What do these people have against color?
They really do. It's like I think there's just somebody in charge in Hollywood now. He works for every studio, and his job is to show up at every editing bay and say, "Wash it out, wash it out." Oh, is that some contrast I see there? Get rid of the contrast. Make it gray.
Well, again, it's sort of like Casey Anthony being the representative for Planned Parenthood. I think this is actually the perfect representation for these types of movies, because that's what they've really done on a deeper level. They've sucked all the color out of these classics and turned it into this grayscale, soulless slop. So it's perfect that it looks that way. It's a reflection of it on the outside is a reflection of the inside. And
I've come to the point now where I've just accepted that TV is gone. TV is going to look like that now. Too much has to be produced all the time. They don't like the demand for content spiked so high that's literally like, I've always been of the opinion, for instance, that there's just as many good creatives working in Hollywood as there ever was. There's just 10 times the output that there used to be. So they need to hire mediocres on top of the good ones that are still working today. And it's fewer and farther in between, so you're not going to see it as regularly because you're being constantly bombarded by new stuff all the time, as opposed to back in the day where you were kind of always seeing the good content because the good content was coming out less frequently, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like I disagree, because that would mean that there still is good content. And
I think still believe that there is. I
really?
do, like I've seen. Look, I don't have the examples off the top of my head, but there's been stuff that I've seen. A lot of the movies, for instance, that I've seen haven't been the worst looking thing. Now it's the television shows that end up falling into that camp where everything's grayscale or it's all washed out with one color. It doesn't look like they know how to light for daytime. It doesn't look like they know how to light for dusk. All shots are perpetually dusk because it's there to hide bad CGI. But I liked a movie that came out in 2023 called The Creator. Now, the story was very derivative of science fiction, but it was a Gareth Edwards movie, and he filmed it on like a Sony FX3, and it's gorgeous, and it's beautiful, and the movie looks fantastic, but it's because Gareth Edwards knows what he's doing, and the Gareth Edwards of the world are still working today. It's just that there's only so many of them. It's a finite resource, and there's a only so many great creators, but way more content getting made. We have a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, media training has become a cottage industry in Hollywood. More studios, especially Disney and Universal, are spending money enforcing compliance with clauses in talent contracts. Rachel Zegler mass sprayed lighter fluid on it. She's just like, I'm going to burn it all down. So I'm going to read you guys a couple of the quick thought reviews here. Ollie London, he aggregated some quotes from the press. Heartless and ugly from Discussing Film. Could have been made by a ChatGPT prompt from The Telegraph. Waste of everyone's time and talent from The Independent. Lifeless carbon copy from The Associated Press. Well, it's a remake, of course. Here is from someone named Jermaine. If you're curious what Moana would be like, slower, darker, and less whimsical, boy, have I got the movie for you. The live-action remake captures some of what made the original so magical with its song scenes, but the rest of it never finds the right tone.
I love it. We were talking about this last time, that I am fully 100% Team Chud. I am so thrilled to see these movies flopping. And that's not even out of politics. That's not out of anything except being a film nerd, being a fan of good quality filmmaking and pop culture. And all of these studio movies that have come out for the last decade at least have just been the death of pop culture. It has been the death of the American art form. And I think we are witnessing the beginning of the end, and we're starting to see what's going to be the next golden age of indie film. So I love to see this.
I think I'm going to start a second channel just reviewing Jason Statham movies.
I don't think I've ever seen any.
Okay, well, I mean, it's not your genre, but...
I was going to say, chat, no one is surprised by that.
I think a channel of just reviewing Jason Statham movies would be the greatest thing ever. Just use the same picture for every thumbnail every time with just a background with just the new, like, whatever the cover of the movie is. He's got a new movie called Mutiny coming out. I'm very excited.
Why Jason Statham movies? You just really like them?
Because he plays this. He is proof that he is the proof that there is a way to do Ryan Reynolds the right way, meaning that he can play ostensibly the same person in every movie. You know, he's an ex-military guy. He's a roughneck from the bad side of town. Blah 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 blah, and he has to save someone. And I'm fine with that. And it's awesome. And every time I see it, it's awesome. So whether it's The Beekeeper, Shelter, he's got Mutiny coming out. He's also making like is it a Linklater or I think it's a Linklater movie. I don't remember who's making it, called Jason Statham Stole My Bike, where he plays himself in like an action comedy.
Oh, I like that. I think the way to be the good Ryan Reynolds is just don't marry the succubus.
There you go. I'll read a couple more of these now. This one from Matt says, Moana shows just how far Disney will go for a quick and easy buck, producing another unnecessary, nearly shot-for-shot, beat-for-beat live-action remake that doesn't offer anything new that wasn't already done better just 10 years ago. The visuals are so flat, with a heavy reliance on green screen, use of CGI for so many of its locations, water effects, creatures, and even the musical numbers, that it all comes across as soulless and inauthentic. Dwayne Johnson's inherent charm is weakened by his distractingly fake bodysuit. And the lead actress holds her own despite Johnson's outsized presence, but isn't able to leave much of an impression beyond showcasing her lovely singing voice, as the film is too derivative of the original to allow her to distinguish herself. The songs are still catchy and enjoyable to listen to, but I already have an excellent 2016 animated film that I can watch for that, instead of a hollow retread.
God, can you imagine how bad this must be that you can't even please the paid shills anymore?
I mean, it's not the thing is I saw a really interesting point that somebody made. They said this movie was marked safe to critique, which I thought was a really interesting turn of phrase, which is like the media feels like they have certain movies that they're basically allowed to have a negative thought on. Supergirl was basically that, where for some reason, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't like Paramount and they want to sync things for Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers is getting bought by Paramount. So I think that was political in nature in a lot of ways, but it's not like, you know, there wasn't a plenty good argument for the movie being below average. Even if I liked it, you know, calling it below average wouldn't be a lie for a lot of people. So, all right. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to love this one, my friend. The most recent GLAAD annual film study is out, and you might be shocked to hear, once again, that there is, in fact, more work to be done.
Oh, gee! Who would have thunk it? There's always more work to be done when the work always amounts to giving them money.
Yeah,
who knew?
It's actually worse than that. It's not just that there's more work to be done, because there's more work to be done kind of implies that they made some progress, but there's more progress that needs to be made. This, frankly, frames everything as negative and you know, as if they're losing ground. So I'm going to read you some of these stats, and then I'll let you go off. So this is
GLAAD is angry again. By the way,
they are
an organization called GLAAD. They are the most miserable people in the world. I
wonder if they call their events glad handing. Maybe they do. Okay, so this is their stuff. This is the GLAAD annual film study from 2025. 46 films, 20.4%, excuse me, featured at least one LGBTQ character, which is down from 23.6% in 2024, and down even further from its peak of 28.5% in 2023. The total number
5% of the population.
Yep. The total number of LGBTQ characters was 112, which was a sharp drop from 181 the year before. 0 LGBTQ characters in 19 animated or PG family movies. 0 transgender characters across all 225 films. LGBTQ characters of color fell 36%. Bisexual representation slipped from 25% to 22% of all inclusive films. GLAAD cites the fact that 1 in 5 people under 30 identify as LGBTQ, which means, in their opinion, they're leaving money on the table. Do you dispute that number? You made a face.
Oh, I dispute. I dispute. I dispute. These are bored, basic, liberal white chicks is what it is. I will tell you the cause of everything. The root problem of every issue in the world. It is bored, liberal white chicks. They're not getting laid. Their husbands aren't stooping them. The husband is taking off with the secretary every weekend, right? They haven't done it in years. So these liberal chicks think, what can I do to liven things up, to get my jollies? Oh, I'll have a trans kid. That's very exciting. That's very exotic. So you got the bored, unloved, unlaid, liberal white chicks brainwashing their kids, and then the bored, unloved, unlaid, liberal white chicks become teachers. So they have all sorts of kids to shove this down their throat and indoctrinate. No, this is all make-believe. Ugh, I hate it.
What do you think okay, so me and you know ostensibly that there is no right answer here for them. The idea is like it could be 50% and it would still be that there's more work to do.
It could be 100%.
Exactly. And there's really more work to do for them. But box office seems to indicate that this just, it didn't work for them and they tried their best. But peak representation was 2023, which means that those movies were basically cast and produced in like 2020 and 2021 when things were at their worst. And that was actually during the edge of the streaming bubble, right? And now granted, we're talking about movies here, not streaming shows. But at that time, they felt like they had the data that said that this is what everybody wants. But I don't know, like they look at movies like Lightyear failing, movies like Strange Worlds failing, Turning Red failing, all these things that Disney produced that didn't really resonate with anybody. Who was it? Snoop Dogg talking about how uncomfortable it was going to see Lightyear because he didn't know how to explain to like his nephew or his grandson about what it meant to be gay and stuff like that. Like, if we're trying to
children.
I know. So leaving the children's stories out of it, if we're going just with entertainment for adults, what's the best way to handle this if you're a studio and you want to do this and you don't want to piss off any such demographic?
Tell them to kick rocks. See, people talk about cancel culture. The issue is not cancel culture. The issue is coward culture. The issue is all of these companies that have just, no pun intended, bent over for these people and allowed them to walk all over them and allowed these interest groups to rule the roost. I mean, I've talked about this a lot on here. GLAAD has a representative in the writer's room for every single TV show that has a gay character. So it's not like even in this 20% or whatever, there is zero diversity amongst that. There's zero characters who are unique in any way. It's just them and their representatives making sure that it pushes the same agenda, the same character traits, and just gets through their agenda, which is conformity at all costs.
I would like to see, I think a big part of the problem is also like the fact that people write a lot of self-inserts now, and then the self-insert is molded along the lines of whatever the appropriate narrative is for the show. Also, you're not allowed to take risks with the characters because it's not just about making a character of a different race or a character of a different sexual orientation. They also have to be quote unquote a positive representation because you can't show stereotypes. You can't show them as the bad guy because if they're the bad guy, you're reflecting negatively on said, group. Which means
and don't forget,
the weird thing about that is and this still holds true a lot of the time today, then that just ends up benefiting white dudes because then the meaty roles that go to where the guy gets the cool monologue about being a bad guy, the one who's actually written interesting, is given to the white guy because they're terrified to give that role to somebody else. I remember when they made the 2018 Predator movie, and at that time, Sterling K. Brown was really well known for This Is Us. That was like his breakout performance, which is like it's like bathtub television. It's very, very saccharine. He got to play like a dickhead in that movie. He got to chew bubble gum and say cool shit. And he looked like he was having the time of his life to me. Like he looked like he was having fun chewing bubble gum and being a quasi bad guy. Though I don't know if he can necessarily be characterized in that movie as the bad guy. You need to write roles like that with nobody in mind, nobody in particular, and then let the person who auditions best for it embody the role no matter what they look like.
Yeah. Well, and first of all, these people, like I said, and you said, it creates weaker characters, whether they're gay, black, women, whatever. It creates much weaker characters. And the thing is, it is so tightly controlled. These people, their slogan should basically just be conform and control. Those are the things they want, control and conformity. Even back in the day, and we think of them as obviously this past decade being a lot worse than ever before, which they are, but these people have always been insufferable. Back when Basic Instinct came out, they were marching in the streets protesting that.
Wait, why?
Because this amazing, iconic character, Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, was a bisexual. Mm-hmm. So we can't have that. They were picketing and protesting Silence of the Lambs.
Wait, why did they care that she was bisexual? Because the character was... Why? Like, why did that bother them?
Because, she's, it's what you were just saying. You can't have a villain,
Okay,
of course.
so it had to do with...
the tropes. It plays on the tropes. That's always what they say.
I liked it in the show Power. What was somebody in the chat who watched Power will remember what I'm talking about. Who was the drug kingpin that Ghost, that the character of Ghost answered to? The one who lived, the guy from Mexico, or the guy from, he was like their Spanish drug connect, and he was like flamboyantly gay. And it was awesome because he was also brutal and ruthless, and so it made the character more layered. But it did feel like a way that they were trying to turn a stereotype perhaps on its head and make him that way. I always like that. Somebody in the chat will know who I'm talking about.
Well, they also protested Silence of the Lambs. These people back in, when was it, 91? There's video of them having entire demonstrations outside of movie theaters. Yeah. Because they're so offended by Silence of the Lambs. So these are the amazing works of art that we would never have if we listened to this interest group.
I don't mean The Wire. Jay in the chat says The Wire. No, I'm not talking about Omar from The Wire. It's a different. It's a different dude. from the show Power. I don't remember who it was, but it's just really funny because it was very blatant when they did it, and I always liked that character. But all right.
Oh, Kelly said my hair looks great. Thank you, Kelly.
There you go. You get some positive affirmation today. Also, guys, another thing that's worth noting here is that, so on top of representation supposedly, cratering in Hollywood, I didn't send you this, I don't think, but I did remember reading this the other day, and I think it ties in. Look at where they're going with this. Family, holiday, and faith-based department at Netflix is being fully funded, looking to capitalize on the families and the people that are religious. There was this section, family, holiday, and faith-based, which is overseen by Kira Goldberg. Per the report, Goldberg's division has money to spend before the end of the year and is actively buying pitches and early development rather than prepackaged projects. The wish list is Jurassic Park and Jungle Cruise-style family adventure, a Mrs. Doubtfire-level high-concept family comedy, live-action hybrids built on public domain characters like the Cheshire Cat gets named, music superstars crossing over into family films, chronicle style YA, and muscular male skewing thrillers. Families, male skewing audiences, faith-based content written directly in the name of the division with a checkbook and a year-end deadline. This connects to it because we talked about it last week about Lionsgate. Like the possibility of Netflix wanting to buy Lionsgate because of their IP. They want access to the male demographic that they feel like they've lost in a lot of ways. And I'll tell you what, I cancel streaming services regularly to save money. I always keep Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is the GOAT as far as I'm concerned. The amount of content on Amazon Prime is just shocking. But every so often, I re-up my account to up Faith and Family. And I watch faith-based content from time to time just because it's so saccharine and easy to watch. And I think people are looking for that. In a world that's kind of bombarded by shitty politics and indeed identity politics, easy to consume faith-based content that's not overtly over the top, or even sometimes if it is. I'm not inherently, as we know, I'm not inherently Christian, but I am very much somebody who likes watching Christian-made content because the values espoused and the fact that it tends to err on the side of portraying a positive moral message is something that I'm drawn to in an age where everything has to be freaking dark and gritty. I don't need everything to be dark and gritty. In fact, I don't want everything to be dark and gritty.
I'm telling you, we are just starting to see, and it's going to happen in the next couple years, the golden age. This stuff is going away, and it's because of people like you, and it's because of people like everyone in the chat that have been so vocal about these things and pushed back against these agendas and pushed back against this slop. I think the tide is turning, so I will continue shouting from the rooftops. I know there's a lot of talented people in the chat. Go make your art, make your movies, make your records, do stuff because we're taking back entertainment.
Yeah. It is a fair point from Mike in the chat. He says, "Why would we trust these degenerate Fs with anything faith-based? They will turn the prophets. They will turn the prophets into the lesbians. 2 of them will be in wheelchairs. 1 will probably have neon and red hair." Though I think that there's some hyperbole there. You're not wrong to distrust Netflix inherently. It's not like they've built up a reputation of delivering on their word. But the point is, if they're going based on markets, then that's something that they're clearly looking towards. And also, it falls in the same thing I said earlier with Tom Cruise. I'm not looking for people to create stuff by the way, it looks like your battery's not plugged in, or your laptop's not plugged in. I can see it on the thing. Yes, I got it. The point is like, I don't expect everyone creating content to be creating stuff that necessarily I agree with, or creating stuff that I believe they 100% are behind all the time. I believe that these are businesses in a free market, and they're looking to find ways of making money. And your job as a customer is to kind of vote with your wallet and encourage these companies to make content that speaks to you. If you were watching stuff in the 90s or the 2000s that you really, really liked and you think spoke to you and your values, the fact of the matter is, even back then, they probably lived lives that you didn't agree with in a lot of ways. Still says it still says you're unplugged, I think, there.
I know, sorry. I think it overheated. I had to leave it for a second. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Is that Mike with a Y? I agree. He's probably right, but I think both things can be true at once. If this stuff comes out and it's agenda driven and it's all the stuff we hate, they're the ones who are going to suffer. So I think that these executives might be learning their lesson at some point after exhausting every alternative option. So once this agenda pushing and this awful stuff that they've been making for years now, it becomes costly enough to them, which could be happening with things like Moana and Snow White, the tide is going to have to change at some point.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. We will do Q to the day. We're waiting to see for Mike's computer to get plugged back in here. We're hoping that that will happen. Q to the day. Also, thank you guys for submitting once again. Always submit your pets for Q to the day. Everybody likes to brag about their pets, let's face it. And we've got some a very cute one here from J Money. Says, our little man, Mowgli. And Mowgli looks very sleepy in that photo.
Oh, baby.
It must be nice to be a cat. See, I think that we live in a world now where the general, youth philosophy is that life is so depressing because they don't feel like you're ever going to get ahead that they wish they could just be a cat or a dog with no responsibilities or expectations. You just get to lounge all day and somebody feeds you.
I should have sent you a picture for Q to the day.
No, so for next week you can submit for Q to the day and we'll feature it.
I'm sending it now before I forget.
All right. All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. We still have a lot of stuff to get into today. I want to make sure that we read directly from the article here. Make sure that we got everything going. All right. So let's talk about what's going on with Citizen Vigilante. If you guys don't remember, and it's only been a couple of weeks now, Citizen Vigilante from Uwe Boll, who is a notoriously hated filmmaker, came out a couple of weeks ago. It shot to #1 on the streaming charts on both Apple and Amazon because it featured a character that was getting back for the crimes of migrants in Europe. And he didn't just take out migrants that committed crimes. He also took out corrupt government officials. And for a lot of people on the right who feel as if that their concerns with what's going on with mass migration are, their concerns are going unheard, this movie spoke to a lot of people. The problem is, since it came out and it got all of this hullabaloo surrounding it, a lot of it in thanks to Elon Musk kind of sharing it on his platform. They left it up there for multiple days for free so that you could watch it there. It took on a life of its own, and now we've got this article coming from Puck News, from it's not a Substack, but from the newsletter, from Bellani's newsletter, with the reporting from Kim Masters, and this was from July 6th, so just a couple of days ago. And what they're saying is that according to an unnamed source close to Armie Hammer via Puck News, he said that he was in tears after his first time watching the finished project of the movie, said, quote, "F, this is hateful and disgusting." He allegedly felt that it was not the movie that he thought he had made, and he blamed Uwe Boll, who he claims plays it fast and loose with his production style, only sent him a 50-page script, and thought he was ostensibly making an entirely different movie, which feels very different from what we got from Armie Hammer's piece in The Hollywood Reporter just a couple of weeks ago, where he talked about how he was so grateful to be making movies again, and admitted at the time that he would have done an effing cat food commercial if it had paid the bills. And I saw this, and it's worth pointing out, and we'll read the article as well, but this comes from a single source inside of Armie Hammer's camp. From what I understand, he doesn't even have a camp anymore because he can't afford a camp. Who knows whether any of this is true? His lawyer did not choose to comment when it came to any of this, and even the piece notes that it's worth taking it with a grain of salt. So I'm going to read you here the piece from Puck News so you can get an idea how this all plays out, and then you can tell me your thoughts on this. So it says, the controversial actor seems to be having second thoughts about his would-be return to movie stardom, which has been a cause for celebration on the reactionary right. Late last month, Armie Hammer attracted a level of buzz he had not seen in years, at least not for an on-screen performance. The actor, whose once promising career was derailed by a Me Too era cancellation, plays the starring role in Citizen Vigilante, a low-budget shock film from German provocateur Uwe Boll, sometimes cited as the world's worst director. So how did Hammer feel about finally being in a film that grabbed international attention? Quote, the first time he saw it, he was in tears, a source in Hammer's camp told me. And not tears of joy. He called me and said, fuck, this is hateful. Disgusting. Citizen Vigilante, a kind of death wish on steroids in which Hammer portrays an American businessman on a manhunt largely for immigrants, has become a cause for celebration on the reactionary right this spring after Germany blocked the film from its release on the grounds that it was anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim. Elon Musk posted it full for 2 days on X, generating enough publicity to propel it to #1 on Apple and Amazon. This just days after Musk was criticized for promoting rhetoric that allegedly helped spark anti-immigrant riots in Belfast. The film had a limited theatrical release as well. Had the actor starred in the movie without reading the script? Did he not grasp the nature of the film in which he played the vigilante? Quote, I think he knew it certainly leaned toward the right, but Uwe works in a very frantic way. It's not like he was sent a 100-page script. When he saw the final product, that was not the movie I thought we made, and he freaked the F out. And Armie was desperate for work, this person continued. They talked about his feature in the Hollywood Reporter article in the run-up to the release of the movie. Hammer recalled receiving a scant 50-page script from Boll and described his mindset at the time. I would have done an effing cat food commercial. And they do point out that he was not going to get a response from Hammer's attorney. I'd heard that before from
that he was not asked to do a cat food commercial. They wouldn't have hired him for a cat food commercial.
So let me know your thoughts on this. In my opinion, he says that basically he was like in tears after this. I don't think he was shedding tears for immigrants or Muslims or anyone. I think he was shedding tears for himself because he feels that the bad publicity is going to prevent him from making a mainstream Hollywood comeback.
Yeah, it really depends, and we're going to see at some point. There's 2 directions he could go at this point in his career. One, which I think would be the smart one, is to stand firm, to be a man. Wouldn't that be a nice change from an actor? And stand firm in what I assume his beliefs probably are, and tell these people to kick rocks. The other direction he could go, which I don't think he should, is he's going to try to grovel and he's going to try to appease all the gatekeepers and repeat all the talking points and all the agendas. And he'll find if he tries to do that, it's not good enough. It'll never be good enough. There's no forgiveness with these people. There's no redemption. So you could try to grovel to them all you want. It ain't going to work. It's sort of like, though, do you remember when Robert Downey Jr. said, he swept this comment under the rug, but he had said a long time ago that you cannot go to prison and come out of there a liberal. I think it's similar with Armie Hammer. You can't go through a cancellation and come out of it a liberal.
He said that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that in context to? Do you know?
I mean, his prison sentence and stuff. I think this was, I assume, probably before he played Iron Man in that period where nobody would really hire him.
I mean, he's got a history of, at the very least, you understand that Robert Downey Jr. believes in redemption because he stood up for Mel Gibson, despite the fact that Hollywood had turned their back on Mel Gibson because of his past comments, right? He basically said, this man has been punished enough. Do we not believe in redemption? Now, again, those comments are very old, and he's now Iron Man for life. Even if he's playing Dr. Doom in Doomsday, he'll always be Iron Man to a big portion of the population, and he commands massive paydays, $100 million paydays to do Marvel movies now.
I lost respect for him, and I have so much respect for him. Just anybody who can have a comeback like that and overcome addiction, I immediately have so much respect for. But he seems like one of these types who's probably more conservative and pretends not to be. It was actually, remember that interview he walked out of? That was one of the reasons he walked out, that the guy... Oh, you don't remember that? It's... What's that guy's name? The British guy who Tarantino walked out of an interview with him. That guy is a dick. But this is one of the things he was pressing him on. He brought up that comment and said, do you stand by that? Are you still not a liberal? and Downey kind of didn't want to answer.
I mean, I'll give the interviewer his props. Like, he's doing his job. He's asking questions that, like, that's not a gotcha question in the same way. That's basically saying, like, are you going to stand by what you've said previous? I don't have a problem with that interview question.
I don't either. Just in general, the guy's a dick. He tried to get Tarantino on something, but yeah, Robert Downey wouldn't stand by it.
And the chat is correct that Mel Gibson took Robert Downey Jr. under his wing. Thank you. And helped rehabilitate his image after that. Look, all of this is kind
Nobody would hire him.
All of this is kind of speculation when it comes to this report from Puck News. One of the interesting things that they point out is that they asked the person, they basically said, like, would he do Citizen Vigilante 2? Because Uwe Boll is talking about Citizen Vigilante 2. He comes to America. And they said he would only do it for life-changing money. I'm like, so his disgusting thoughts on this disgusting movie has a price tag. If I'm to believe this bullshit, and I'm not sure that I do, a lot of this just feels like a weird type of framing. I don't know if I believe that Armie Hammer even said any of this, but if he did, he's still saying that his morals are on the auction block, that he'll make a disgusting movie if they pay him enough.
That's all of these people, though. Their morals are always on the auction block. All of them are for sale. There are so few people who have principles. And in order for the tide to turn, it would be so impactful for somebody with the status of a Robert Downey Jr. to make a simple comment, to take a stand on something, state an opinion that's outside of the approved beliefs. But they won't do that.
Who is a celebrity that you believe does really, really well with, like, I think Chris Pratt does a good job of not really, for as much as the internet hates him, he doesn't egg it on, and he's remained pretty good at kind of appealing. Like, he appeals to right-wing people, sure, especially, like, online right-wing people who know the the lore of how the internet hates him. But he also appeals to normies who have no idea what his beliefs are, and he's just a guy.
Yeah. The Rock is another one who kind of just rides the middle.
Yeah. I mean, I think The Rock is a little bit... The Rock comes off more of a politician to me. Now, part of that's his wrestling acumen, meaning that he got to his position in wrestling through his ability to both, yes, be talented and charismatic, but to make it to a certain level in wrestling, you can't just be talented and charismatic. You have to also be able to politic behind the scenes to get what you want. He has that ability to kind of turn people off, I think, by appearing too proper, too professional. His answers are too prepared sometimes.
You know who's the worst with that? Matthew McConaughey.
It's the accent.
He's a snake oil salesman. He's like, look how Southern I am, and I'm so conservative. Now here's why we should take your guns.
Yeah. He's a bit of a it's the accent for him that does him in. All right. Look, as far as I'm concerned with this, like, I don't think they're actually going to make... If they do make Citizen Vigilante 2, it will not be with Armie Hammer. My guess is he will move on and try to work... Because he's already worked with other right-wing filmmakers. He did the movie Frontier Crucible, which was made by Dallas Sanye, which is Bonfire Legend, which is Daily Wire. Frontier Crucible wasn't Daily Wire, but he's worked with people that are adjacent to it. But maybe we get him and Jonathan Majors doing a buddy cop film next.
He did, Dallas did Bone Tomahawk. Have you seen that?
Yep.
Oh, that was badass.
Yep. All right. It's time for you to help everybody understand just how they have ruined reality television. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on?
Oh, boy. So, I don't know about you guys. I love the competition reality TV genre. Survivor, Big Brother. New season of Big Brother 28 premieres tonight. And it has been destroyed by conformity. So basically, for years, and I'd say ever since 2020, that was around the time that CBS and a lot of these companies put in a 50% mandate, that 50% of the cast has to be black or brown. So while they preach diversity, these casts have never had less diversity. Everyone has to be liberal. Everyone has to be Democrat. If there's one person that sneaks in that's conservative, people go insane. And the thing is, these producers are terrified of these people. They have just submitted to every single one of them. So you have a show like Survivor that outright says, we won't cast villains anymore. So all
That's
the
like
modern
the whole
seasons
point. You need the villain.
Dude, literally the best season of Survivor is called Heroes versus Villains. And guess what? The villains won. It is maddening. And so all these modern seasons of Survivor and Big Brother, it just feels like an HR getaway.
So
it's awful.
So, do you want to give people like an understanding of this guy that they're talking about in this tweet that you sent earlier about? Is it Camus?
Yeah, he's an a Christian MMA fighter that's on the new season of Big Brother, which is shocking. So Big Brother starts tonight, and it looks like there might actually be like 2 or 3 conservatives on there. And the thing is, too, I say that very loosely because not one of these people have spoken any views, have said any conservative things.
Just who they follow, right?
Yeah, people stalk who they follow and stuff. I love this tweet so much in particular because, the far right, the alt-right, like Daily Wire and Charlie Kirk. That's really the alt-right.
So literally Con Inc.
Yeah.
So it says, Camus follows dozens of alt-right conservatives, MAGA influencers, and Jesus freaks. Why would you cast someone like that? Like, genuinely, he follows Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson, The Daily Wire, Charlie Kirk, the list goes on. And he hardly follows any women at all.
Which I would love to know how you arrived at that. He follows like 1,000 people. Did you just go through every single one?
He should work for GLAAD and do all that. He should work for GLAAD and do all that number crunching they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, it's insufferable. And also, Jesus freaks. It's amazing to me how, bigotry is allowed for only certain groups and not for others. Yes. Like, can you imagine if they and they have Muslims on there sometimes. So imagine somebody posting, oh, it's a Muhammad freak. They would never say that, of course.
They never actually ever point out, or at least I've never seen anybody give me like a solid answer as to what like a regular right-wing person is to them. Like, I don't know what, me, who I think of as like generically liberal, is probably far right to them.
Oh, yeah. That's a question I ask too to them sometimes. Like, okay, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, that's the alt-right, that's the far right. So give me a name. Who's the regular right? Who's on the right that would be acceptable to you? The answer is nobody, because these people demand total and absolute conformity.
And
the thing. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is with these shows, the reason that I fell in love with them and have been watching them my entire life is that these shows were designed to be social experiments. The idea of it was putting together people of all different backgrounds, all different lifestyles, all different views. And the thing is, it's not only that creates good TV, it creates conflict, it creates drama. And God, there has not been conflict on Survivor in about a decade. There has not been one crossword with each other on that show in about 10 seasons.
Who wants to watch that? Like, who wants
it's like watching paint dry. Well, and the thing is, too, it's not only about conflict, because, for example, in the early seasons of these shows, like the first season of Survivor, they had Richard Hatch, this scheming gay guy. And then they had a 75-year-old Navy SEAL who the first thing he said was, I don't want to be near the homosexuals and I don't like the queers and all that. And the cool thing was they became the closest allies in the game and they became each other's best friend. So that's something that's actually cool, that you can see if people can get past their pre-existing views, or if not, it'll just be good TV and they'll clash because of it. But we're not allowed to have any of this now. These shows are just all nowadays, everyone nodding their heads, pretending to agree with each other, pretending to be nice.
I mean, it feels that way about most television in general. It's really funny. I've been watching a 5-hour retrospective on the awful Marvel Iron Fist show. And it's really funny how when the guy, the channel's name is Spidgy, and you should all go follow him because he does great content. Like, he makes these like granular deep dive reviews that also have great his own kind of thoughts and rewrites on how he would rewrite aspects of the screenwriting, which are really, really good. And he goes off about how basically the best character in the whole show is the dad, is like Ward Meacham's dad. And the guy's a dick. He's just such a dick the whole time, but he's got great character development because he does, like, despite the fact that he's awful to his son, he correspondingly seems to really, really love his daughter and wants to keep her safe. But then also has like a certain reverence for his family as well, while also being a terrible person. Like, he's literally talking about it, like loving his family while he's chopping up body parts from these bad guys. And they're like, why? And he's like, why couldn't there be more of this guy in the show? Like, he has more layers than anybody else in this surface level bullshit where it doesn't feel like anything's written that way. And it doesn't feel like there's any of that in television anymore, not just reality TV.
No, but you really see it in reality TV in particular. Once you take away all conflict, all differences between people. That's the thing. These people who talk about diversity, they despise diversity. I'm the person who wants diversity. If I were producing a show like this, I wouldn't be casting people who agree with me. I want the most far left communist, the most extreme conservative, get real differences in there. Oh, and by the way, it just goes to show how, because on all of these shows now, Survivor, Big Brother, everything it's all race all the time. I won't vote out this person because she's black, and we have to vote out the white people, and there are too many black. It's just all about that all the time. So I had played recently in this weekend-long game of Survivor. They filmed it for YouTube. I did one years ago. I won it. So I was like, I want to do it again, see if I still got. This is my sport. I was like, I gotta do it again. I want my second win.
Wow, you buried the lead with that one. I didn't hear that. You didn't tell me about this.
I thought I told you about this. Yeah, well, so this other one I did, it's airing on YouTube now. If you guys search Survivor USF, get this though. So I was like, okay, Survivor says they're not gonna cast villains. I'll show you a villain. So I went in there and played hard. I'm very competitive. Get this. So the people that I was working with in my alliance, me and these 3 other people, at a certain point, we realized we were all Italian. Okay. So I started calling it the Italian Alliance, the Paisan Pack. The production decided afterwards that is white supremacy.
What?
They didn't cast any black people, by the way, which isn't my fault. They decided it's white supremacy and banned me from ever playing in another game.
Wait, why? What makes that white supremacy?
You tell me.
Okay. All right.
And there was also a girl who was a minority that got voted out at one point because she had no strategy. I didn't have a vote, but they said I got her voted out because she's Spanish or something. So this is like on a small level what's happened to all these reality shows, even just a dumbass weekend-long game.
Remember when they did Celebrity Big Brother, and what's his name got in trouble for like talking to JoJo Siwa? Who was that?
Oh, that was in the UK. Oh my God, they threw him out.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They threw him out. Yeah, that was in the UK. You're not allowed to have disagreements. You're not allowed to. There was this one season of Big Brother where there was this one guy, a white guy, who had said
it was Mickey Rourke. It was Mickey Rourke.
That's right.
Continue.
There was this white guy who had said to somebody, I feel like these 4 people who were the black people were working together, and we should be careful that they don't gang up on us. He was correct in saying that. The girl had outright said she's not going to vote out any black people. They had a struggle session for this guy like you've never seen in your life.
How so?
They made him cry. He had to apologize and say, I tried to form an all-white alliance, and I'm so sorry for it. Thank you for educating me. And they were like, okay, well, I hope as a person you could later be redeemed, but for this, your consequence should be voted out of the house. And they made him just like self-flagellate. Meanwhile, by the way, this is the guy who stood up for, there was this black girl who was kind of being bullied earlier in the season. She was being bullied by all the other black people, by the way. And he's the one who stood up for her and formed the alliance to keep her in the game. She ended up winning. And this is the thank you he gets for it. His name was Kyle. They were all calling him KKK Kyle. Oh, I hate what these shows have become. I don't know if anybody else, sorry if I'm boring you guys. I don't know if anyone in chat watches these shows, but
I mean,
I can't.
At the very least, think of them as like an inherent American tradition from the early 2000s that are representative of a very different time in our culture.
Oh, they used to be so good. They used to be so good.
I also saw this one. It says, it has come to my attention that Haley has been liking MAGA posts on TikTok, and it's I'm not sure if you know of Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, but they deserve a huge thank you for all their hard work and dedication.
Oh, that must be an old post.
Yeah. They poured their hearts and souls into spreading the word and opening eyes of uneducated voters. And apparently this girl liked these posts. And it says, that makes her a bad person because she's apparently a MAGA person.
The last season of Survivor was Survivor 50. And they, of course, did not cast any spicy personalities. It was just, very friendly, everyone nodding. However, maybe 2 people on a cast of 24 snuck by who were similar to this, that, they had liked MAGA posts or they followed MAGA people. People posted an entire chart, a color-coded chart that goes from dark blue to lighter blue to red of them based on their politics and who you're allowed to support.
I mean, obviously this has to be like a ridiculously old post, but that doesn't matter because to somebody who's as far left as that, it doesn't matter who they are. They just hate anybody that would have been even tangentially right wing at any point whatsoever.
No, well, and then they wonder why these shows are bad now. Why they don't enjoy watching these shows anymore. Because there's no conflict. Because there's no spicy personalities. Because there's no difference. It's just all conformity. There is no actual diversity in this.
Yep. All right.
But I'll still watch it. I'll still watch it tonight. And by the way, this goes to show how much I love you, Brett, that Big Brother premieres tonight, but I'm streaming with you instead.
Yes.
I'll watch it after.
Yes, we'll talk about that towards the end of the show. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a little bit more to get into today. I wanted to get everyone's idea, and if you are in the chat, I would be interested to know your guys' thoughts on this, because this is a concept that I kind of thought of one way, and perhaps I'm learning that perhaps the word means something different to different people. I saw this post, and I mentioned it on the show yesterday, from Bridget Fedesi, where she said, not to be contrarian, but the Odyssey looks amazing. And I thought to myself, I said, look, if that's genuinely what you think, then you're just somebody who happens to have an opinion that runs contrary to other people in your circle. I don't think that inherently makes you a contrarian. When I think of a contrarian, I think of somebody who purposely takes the opposite perspective of whatever the dominant narrative is, simply for the sake of doing so, or because they like to argue.
Oh, I got some friends like that.
Do you? So do you think that that's an accurate definition that I'm giving, or do you think of it's so? Because I apparently I'm wrong, at least according to the dictionary.com, the Merriam-Webster dictionary.com definition of it. It says a person who takes a contrary position or attitude. It doesn't actually frame anything as being something where it has to be for the sake of doing it.
I feel like it's tomato.
You think it's both? Do you think that there is this pressure for people, especially online, where a movie like The Odyssey is getting such heavy online backlash right now? Is like they feel like they're not even allowed to like it. Even like, granted, nobody's seen it yet, so they don't know. But the same thing kind of happened with Supergirl, where I was like, look, it was fine. Like, I'm not going to sit here and dunk on this movie as if it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm not saying that it was the greatest movie that I've ever watched, but very rarely do I leave movies with like a really high opinion or a really low opinion. Most of the time, I'm just like, it was a movie. But it feels like because the algorithm incentivizes you to have really, really strong opinions, that puts you at one of two ends of the spectrum. On one end of the spectrum, you have a really strong opinion in the negative direction, following whatever everybody else is saying, or perhaps a really positive opinion in one direction, if that's what everybody else is saying. Or you get attention the other way by taking whatever that opinion is that everybody shares and sharing it to the contrary. But then it becomes like the term grifter. You can't know what is in somebody's heart, at least in my opinion. So labeling someone a grifter because it's basically become opinion I don't like. Person who has opinion I don't like, because they think that the only reason they could possibly have that opinion is to monetize it. Okay? Is that true of some people? Sure. I'm sure it is. Is that true of the majority of people? I don't know. It's even harder to kind of parse that out on X, where so much of it is monetized for so many people. So how can you know if anybody is being genuine?
You're like a contrarian of being a contrarian.
Look, a lot of the times.
I'm kidding.
So
You're
a lot of the
opposite.
times, like when we're doing the show here, part of the job is also is not just to share your opinion, but perhaps share what might be a contrary perspective to the dominant one being shared at that time. Right? Like, okay, it's like basically the best version of that would be to steel man an argument to the contrary if there's nobody there that actually shares those thoughts. I'm still of the opinion, I can almost guarantee you, as long as I have my drunken fries, I'm probably going to like the Odyssey. I'll tell you why. I'm of the opinion that Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page probably won't even have a whole lot of screen time. Their casting doesn't bother me because it would be hypocritical of me to care, because I love all sorts of fantasy slop that does. Like, I love the show Merlin, which did Black Guinevere back in like 2006.
I'm gonna make the Brett face.
Exactly. Am I supposed to like that show for what it is, but hold this one to a different standard? Maybe one day there will be a show made or like a remake of some show that I really, really loved growing up, and they will race or gender swap a character that I originally loved, and maybe at that time it'll bother me. Like, the closest thing that I can think of is that when they did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, they did the race swap of April O'Neil, but I ended up kind of being meh on that movie, but it wasn't because of April. It was just kind of meh. And I have strong opinions on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I loved the original movies back in the 90s, right? It wasn't based on the race swap. And I'm of the opinion, for me personally, I am not saying that this is the opinion that other people are going to have. I understand why they don't, is that race swaps don't matter to me, because as long as they don't make race a central plot to the race swap character, right? So if James Bond is suddenly black and Idris Elba is playing him, as long as they're not like making his storyline about how he was held back when he was in the SAS and becoming James Bond for the British Secret Service because he was black, as long as they don't do that, I don't care. As long as they get into the spy stories and the intrigue, I don't care. If they do make it a central part to the character, then they're making it about race, and I don't like stories that are about racial politics. I don't care about the racial politics inherently leading up to the release, but I understand that that's not a popular opinion.
It's funny, by the way. I was talking to some idiot the other day, and I had mentioned I was coming on PCC, and he was like, "What's that? A conservative show?" I was like, "No, it's not. I am much further to the right than Brett."
Yeah, well,
but no, I despise race swaps. The thing is, maybe if this were 20, 30 years ago, it wouldn't matter because it wasn't all race all the time back then. Back then, you couldn't feel the agenda. Today, whenever there's a race swap, you can see the agenda. You can feel the agenda. Something where you couldn't was sort of like maybe the Brandy Cinderella, where it was all races in it, but you could tell that it was being made from a place of love. It was being made from a place of beauty. Whereas things nowadays with these race swaps, it's made from a place of spite, and it's visible on screen. For me, I don't want race swaps of any kind. Like, I don't want to see Dream Girls with white people or The Wiz with white people. Just as I wouldn't want to see like black James Bond or black. They're never good. However, though, in the
chat, Spike says Bond is white. Just stop it, Brett. Make a new agent. Yes, that would be the preferential choice. That does not mean that I would inherently hate the movie if it came out and they did it. I can acknowledge that it's a terrible idea because you're going to get endless pushback and backlash. But again, I'm merely sharing with you guys what my thoughts are on it, not to say that you're not accurate or that you're not valid or whatever in your assessment. That's perfectly fine.
I hate it.
Go on. You continue.
I hate it. That's what I mean though. You're like a much more tolerant person than I am. I'm a bitch on wheels. So
can you explain to me, you said you can, and I agree with you a lot of times, maybe not inherently with the race swaps because I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but can you explain what you mean, how you can feel the agenda? Because you are correct. When it's there, you can feel it. But can you explain to me?
Like, with any of these, it feels like, The Last Jedi, for example. Watching it, it feels like you have somebody standing behind you who every 30 seconds is tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, women can do anything men can do. You're like, all right, got it. Can I watch the movie? That's what it feels like with a lot of these. Like, I remember there was an interview with Whitney Houston years ago. She was talking about producing Cinderella. And it's weird how nobody thought anything of it at the time. But she said, we really want to show the beauty of all kinds of people. We have African Americans, Caucasian Americans. I mean, just saying that alone, Caucasian Americans, people would flip out nowadays. And so you watched something like that, or you watched movies that just, even if it wasn't a race swap, just had black characters because that was normal back then. It wasn't some special thing, whether it's Lethal Weapon or whatever the case might be. Nowadays, you can feel that person standing behind you, tapping you on the shoulder, lecturing you about white privilege and black people are oppressed.
The thing that this is true with a lot. The thing is, like, if I see the hint of it and it bothers me, I just turn it off. I don't subject myself to garbage. If it's annoying me, I just turn it off and I stop watching. I also believe that there is a certain level that it might not seem readily apparent to people, but a lot of it ends up being your view of entertainment both before and after you became politically aware. So how you viewed entertainment prior to your understanding of both politics, or especially racial politics as they play into Hollywood and media, when you had a more free, naive, perhaps, and positive idea of what it meant to be in a movie or to be an actor or to watch a movie, you were unencumbered by all of the baggage that comes with knowing just how many race-obsessed people there are in Hollywood. Okay? So, and it also helped back then. Like, nobody's going to look at Whitney Houston and think she didn't get the role on merit. Nobody would have looked at Brandy and thought she didn't get the role on merit because Brandy was a superstar. Okay? Nowadays, you set actors up for failure when you do that. If they are not a previously known commodity, then they're going to be judged based on A, the race swap, and B, their performance. And unless that performance is unbelievable, then you set them up for failure in a lot of ways. But that is why people critiquing Moana aren't talking about anything like that, because they don't have to, because that's the point of the story, right? It was a diverse
and
story
want to see it with like a little white girl, because that's not
weird.
who Moana is. But these people can only defend it in one direction. I think I talked about this already on the show, but they're coming out with a revival of The Sound of Music on Broadway with Black Maria Von Trapp.
Broadway has a history of doing that far longer than
I feel like it can, if it's a replacement, if it's an understudy, I can get down with that, but not when they're opening a show based on this. And so, but I had said in the comments, I was like, great, awesome. Now let's see them do a revival of The Color Purple starring Idina Menzel. And they flip out, how dare you, you're racist, it's white supremacy, because these people have no principles. Their views change moment to moment. It is always situational. It's whatever suits their agenda at any given moment.
Mike is correct in the chat. He says, but it's not a diverse movie, not one white dude. Yes, technically, it is by Hollywood's TM definition of diverse, meaning not white people. It is a culturally relevant story to people that happen to not be white in that movie. And that's fine, because it's about Polynesian culture, so it's their story. Fine, whatever. That's why you don't want to critique it based on that, because that would be absurd. That would be ridiculous. He also said, Brett is the voice of the fence post, where he is forever sitting.
Oh, I love that.
You know, it's okay. Mike, somebody has to be here to hold a position other than everybody else here, lest everybody fall into their own echo chamber. Luckily, I exist in a space where pretty much everybody else sees it, at least on this topic specifically, very different than me. But as I said before, I don't think that Bridget Fetisi or anybody who wants to go see The Odyssey because they saw the trailer and it spoke to them, I don't think that makes you a contrarian. It means that your value system on what makes a movie are different than the people who care about accuracy to Greek lore and in the casting for racial politics being what it is means that doesn't matter to you, but it does to those other people. It only makes you a contrarian if you're like, you know what? Everybody hates the Odyssey, so I'm going to go and like the Odyssey. That is, in my opinion, what would make you a contrarian.
Or if you're like me and just have no interest in it because it looks boring and gray and dreary. I love what Bridget had to say, though, even though I disagree with it, is that I don't care whether it's movies, pop culture, politics. We need different points of view. We need to be able to disagree and have a dialogue, because over the last decade, the left has shrunk the Overton window to being about this big.
Yeah.
So I am all about blasting the Overton window wide open.
I will tell you one of the stupid. Somebody mentioned the Power Rangers. Making the Black Ranger no longer the Black Ranger was ridiculous. Or people getting mad at how that character was portrayed, given how much the actor loved that role. So it is what it is. Look,
and they got rid of Trini.
I know.
She was the Yellow Ranger.
Well, the original actress died. The original actress died in like a car accident or something. I forget what happened.
So did the White Ranger.
He died. He died
Ranger?
suicide. Yes. Recently.
Is the Red Ranger still with us? He did gay porn.
I did not know that. I did not.
I mean, not that I've seen it.
I did not know that. I mean, I know that I think he's the one who's always in trouble with the law. He's married and has kids. It depends, unless we're talking about. I forget what's his name.
I forget if it was the real if it was the original Red Ranger. What was his name? Austin St. John.
Austin St. John. Yeah.
Let me see if he's the one.
No.
Don't worry. Typing in gay porn won't change my algorithm whatsoever. It's already there.
I'm just in the chat. The Real Hydro says that is not true. Maybe it was somebody else. Maybe we're spreading fake news here. Have to find out.
Oh, it's a rumor. It's not. Okay, it's apparently not true. It must have been wishful thinking on my part.
He's always in trouble with the law. He's another one of those ones who's like, he's kind of like.
There's an investigation.
Yeah, he's like.
There's an investigation on if Austin St. John is Brock from Sean Cody.
So he's Austin St. John is kind of similar to. Did you ever watch Home Improvement?
Oh, he's got his dick hanging out. Yes, I watched Home Improvement.
The older brother from Home Improvement is literally constantly getting arrested for fights with his wife. Like literally, Zachary Ty Bryan. If you look it up, everything that will come up about him is something to do with him getting in trouble with the law. Always in trouble with the law.
See, I think this is just my type. I liked him back in the day. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know. I need someone with kind of an edge to him.
All right, let us go to Super Chats, ladies and gentlemen. And for goodness sakes, go see the Odyssey if you want to. If you don't. But don't, first of all, don't let yourself be lectured. At the very least, don't allow yourself to be lectured by somebody who still thinks that Elliot Page is playing Achilles. Because it just means that they're, politically, that they're, pigeonholed into, such an echo chamber that they saw some right-wing account post about it, either as a joke or as even worse, reporting it as fact, and then never corrected it, and they're still running under that assumption.
That's a good point.
All right, Shane H. Wilder. Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett and Mike.
What's up, Shane?
He says Bone Thugs and Harmony are there it is. Bone Thugs and Harmony got a star and are giving the next generation by going on tour with Wu-Tang, because Wu-Tang is for the children. I did. So last night, my friend.
I didn't understand a word of that.
Bone Thugs and Harmony is a rap group. That it was actually, so the very first album that I ever owned was East 1999 Eternal from Bone Thugs and Harmony, and I was listening to old Bone Thugs and Harmony last night, and it was actually surprising to me how much of the music of theirs that I liked came across different albums. I kind of was always under the assumption that most of it was from East 1999. A lot of it also came from The Art of War, and you should go listen to those albums. They're fantastic. Go listen to the song Look Into My Eyes. It's fantastic.
Are they diverse?
They are not diverse.
Oh.
They're not supposed to be.
Good. No, I'm kidding.
Greg Duvier says, reality TV has always sucked. Call it low bot TV? What does that mean?
Low bot.
BOUGHT. Does that mean something?
Low budget, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
No. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because the 2000s era of reality TV, that was must-see TV. Go back and watch it. Oh my God. Go watch Big Brother 10. Watch Keisha's Birthday. After this, go search Keisha's Birthday on YouTube.
Yeah. Old Fox is correct. The song Ghetto Cowboy is unhinged. Everyone should go listen to that now. It is bonkers as a rap song. It's fucking hilarious, but very, very good. Also, Body Rot is another favorite of mine from them. Very, very good stuff.
Body Rot. That's my grinder name.
Yeah, probably. A lot of violent music back in the 90s. Rap music was very violent back then. All right. Now, especially in today's day and age when you have like literal like emo rap, which just makes me want to vomit. It's awful. All right.
Yeah, they used to have that back in my day too.
Shane H. Wilder says, become a member. As Armie Hammer says, do it now.
Do it.
Oh, as Arnie says, do it now. I thought he said Armie. Do it now. Brian Bledsoe says, I don't want it, but Kate McKinnon as female Ace Ventura. He doesn't like that idea, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
I don't know if I mean,
you guys need to stop speaking this out into the universe.
They are speaking it into existence right now.
So are you.
Yeah, well,
I blame you. I blame you for everything. It's all your fault.
It's my job. It's my job to speak it into existence. You know what it does? Is it creates job security for me.
Yes.
Oh no! Sure would suck if they made a female Ace Ventura movie. And then, like 2 years from now, what the fuck is this bullshit?
We better get Young Washington 2 where he's black.
What?
I want like 1776, a remake of it, but they're all black and trans. They could call them the Founding Folks.
FOLX, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'll be over here and I'll be like, yo, why is Tina Fey playing Ace Ventura? She didn't even have the same style of comedy.
No, but then the movie will come out and he'll be sitting on his fence post and he'll say, okay, I didn't think it was that bad. It's okay.
It's like, you know what?
I don't mind.
When she did the sliding glass door part from Ace Ventura, I thought that was hilarious. Plus, they can't do that with Ace Ventura because there's the trans storyline from Ace Ventura, and you can't do that now.
Which makes me love it even more. But
Finkel is
that
Einhorn.
movie is like 9/11 to the transes.
Is it really? Did they really?
Oh, that is their D-Day. It is their January 6th.
Laces out, Finkel. Laces out. Honestly, that might, you know what they could do? They could win everybody over, even if it's a bad movie, by doing that joke. Being ballsy enough, for a lack of a better term, to actually do the trans joke in the remake of it. And then, like, even if the rest of the movie sucks, people will be floored by the fact that they were willing to risk it.
She forgot to hide Mr. Winky.
Yep. And then he's like in the bathtub crying.
That would be my reaction too.
Shane H. Wilder says, every religious themed Netflix has put out has been cringe and sacrilegious. As for male skewed thrillers, leave that to Prime. They got that on lock. Yeah, in general, Prime is the superior. Like, I can scroll Prime at any given time and just find random things or movies that I haven't watched in years and then watch them. Like, I was scrolling the other day and Enemy of the State is on there with Gene Hackman and Will Smith. Love that movie.
Man, I miss Gene Hackman.
Yep.
I was just thinking I got to do a rewatch of Unforgiven.
Yep. That's
That was a good one.
again another movie that proves how big of a deal Will Smith was back in the day. Will Smith was a big deal.
I've always thought that he's too gay for me.
I mean, like, that's not like in the 90s, he didn't really come across that way. At least maybe it didn't feel that way for me.
Oh, I had heard from people in the industry. I had heard for years that the two of them had an arrangement.
Well, I mean, that would make sense given how much she seems to like humiliating him.
See, I always thought she was a big Leslie. I thought she was a dyke, but
No.
she's just a whore.
Okay. Hang the phone up and star 69 his ass. So just think of Scream 2.
Yes.
All right. The Serious Man says, everybody's saying Citizen Vigilante is a bad movie, but I want everyone to watch it because it conforms to my politics. Just sounds woke right to me.
I was gonna say what's up, a serious man, but I won't now because I feel called out. But no, I stand by it. I think it's important because it's a larger issue. I'm not saying you have to like it, but I'm saying I'm glad it's doing well because it's been so one-sided, it's been so over the top, the agenda for so long, that I think it's an important thing. The tide needs to turn. And I'm not saying that that needs to be right-wing movies, but apolitical movies, anything but this. So I'm sure it's not a great movie, but I'm glad that it's succeeding.
The funniest thing that could happen right now is like The Blaze just signs Uwe Boll to a contract to make just a bunch of just far-right exploitative movies all about like political violence. That would be hilarious.
Citizen Vigilante 2, The Muzzies Strike Back.
That's what's gonna. Well, I mean, come on. Daily Wire's making Run, Hide, Fight Infidels, which, as
The
far as
Return of the Muzzies.
as far as I'm concerned, that is Ben Shapiro's version of Mark Wahlberg saying that he would have stopped terrorists if he had been on the plane during 9/11. That is Ben Shapiro's 9/11 fantasy is Run, Hide, Fight 2.
I can't.
He's like, if I was on campus debating Steven Crowder about something, or if I was on campus debating students about trans people in sports, I would have stopped the terrorists that came in and and took over the auditorium.
Oh, I would pay to watch that. I would pay to watch that.
Really, they should have Ben Shapiro do those movies because Ben Shapiro has hilarious dry humor.
I love him. I know I'm alone in that, but
Mike says, "Salud, fellow paisan, Mike. Lady Mask. Okay, he's talking about the Mask with Jim Carrey. Lady Mask would be awful. Yeah." I mean, you know what they could do? They could do a plastic surgery version of it for the women.
It'd just be Repo the Genetic Opera, which we're basically living in now anyway. I mean, turn on the Real Housewives and you'll see it.
I love this. I love the skits of like, it's like Netflix making a period piece, and it's like the woman with extreme Instagram face pretending as if she's in the 1700s.
Yeah, and they all have the same face now.
Yep.
Individuality is becoming an endangered species.
Well, I mean, look what they did to Millie Alcock because she has regular teeth. She doesn't have veneers.
I felt seen.
She doesn't
I feel
have
represented as a member of the bad teeth community.
Shane H. Wilder says, I disagree. What are we talking about?
How dare you? You're not allowed to do that. How dare you? You have stolen my childhood.
I guess the funny thing is I guess that's probably in relation to the stuff we were talking about with the race swaps. To me, annoying storylines that involve race are always more annoying than race swaps of characters. I would rather watch a race swapped character if I had to choose a race swapped character in a generic action movie than have to watch some, procedural do its 30th storyline about white supremacy in America as if it's the most rampant problem in the world, even though there's like 2 people left in the KKK.
I know. But that's every movie. That's what, they're trying to get those ESG scores. Well,
the thing is they've got a ready-made way out of this. They don't have to do that. Just make them Russian. You can always count on Russian villains, okay? It's always okay to be mean to Russians in movies.
That's like one of the acceptable groups that we're allowed.
What was it? The Sum of All Fears or something, where they said like the original writing of the movie version of it was supposed to be Muslim terrorists, but then it wouldn't have been the Sum of All Fears because that came out after 9/11. It was one of the Jack Ryan movies, and they're like the villain was supposed to be a Muslim extremist, and they ended up scrapping it, and making them white supremacists because they're like, we don't think that the Muslims could have crashed a plane into a building or something like that. Somebody in the chat will know what I'm talking about.
I never saw that. That's an entire genre of movies that my grandpa used to drag me to, and I would sleep through. So that's just like grandpa movie to me.
Well, it's because you don't live the traditional, traditional straight dudes. They want to go to movies and imagine that they're the one who stops the terrorist attack on the plane.
I feel like I could stop a terror attack.
There you go. You're on your way to liking these movies already. You just have to imagine that you could do it. All right.
Like, I might not have like the most in upper body strength, but I'm crazy.
But you're scrappy.
So yeah, I could take him.
Not that John Stewart says, I'm watching delayed. I have no idea. Well, I don't know what you have no idea about because I'm reading this delayed. Brian Bledsoe says, don't forget to mention that April O'Neil was hefty. Yes, April O'Neil was fat in the TMNT remake. They also she was also like a high school student because they made it for kids. So,
by the way, can I tell you, side note, I just clicked on the stream to see the chat.
Yeah. And
the first thing that pops up, that I cannot escape ads that they have for a pill you're supposed to take to not get AIDS. How much of a whore do you have to be to need a pill to not get AIDS? And by the way,
you need an ad blocker is what you need.
I do. They have the commercial, and I swear to you, it's a black trans, it's a drag queen, and it's a midget in a leather harness.
I think I saw because I made an observation a couple of years ago that I later saw somebody I think turn into a joke, which was like, whenever like Tim went to buy like a pool table, like everybody went with because they were filming content at the time, and he
had a Tim pool table.
Yes, so he still does. And I was like, I just made the observation. I'm like, advertising is amongst the most diverse places there is now, right? Because I guess the logic behind it is like you want to make diverse ads because you want to reach out to everybody and theoretically hit every demographic. I was like, but you know what? All the ads for pool tables and spas and saunas are suspiciously all for like white dudes. It's all men and it's all like straight white nuclear families in these ads. And somebody basically pointed out, they said, like, why is it that whenever I get an ad for AIDS medications, it's like the most diverse ad I've ever seen, but whenever I see an ad for a swimming pool, it's always like a white family. And I was like, oh, that's just an observation of the way these companies run.
The white family ain't going around giving each other AIDS. Who's doing it?
Well, no.
It's like Trump said, somebody's doing the raping, so somebody's giving the AIDS.
Wait, hold on.
I'm catching up on the chat.
Davy Chase, the actress from Lilo and Stitch, she died of AIDS. Did you know that?
I know.
Isn't that awful?
A shame. She was a little girl from The Ring too.
Yes.
Oh, Nicole said my hair looks great. Thank you, Nicole.
See,
it's a mess.
I'm
talking about the important issues here, Brett.
You're benefiting from not wearing a hat today.
Yes. Oh my God, by the way. Oh my God. I was going to bring this up and I can't believe I forgot, but somebody in chat just mentioned, dude, Evil Dead Burn.
Did you see it?
Not yet. It comes out today.
I saw a couple of the reviews for it that really liked it.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so tell me your thoughts on the franchise. So I was reading. Most of the reviews that I saw said that it looked really, or that it was really good. But then I saw a couple of people saying that basically all the modern iterations of that franchise aren't good. Do you disagree with that? I have no opinion on it because I haven't seen them. So
I did not love Evil Dead Rise the way a lot of other people did. It wasn't bad. It was fine. I thought it was kind of tame compared to what Evil Dead should be. But the 2013 Evil Dead, oof, you got to, in a good way. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's good. Have you seen any of them?
Mm-mm.
You know what, though? I'm not sure if it's your cup of tea. I feel like I know the horror you would like. I don't think this is amongst them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent, I think, actually. So we'll see if this one is good. I hate to say it, but I always viewed Scream as being the most consistent franchise. But I think if this one is good, Evil Dead might be the most consistent franchise now. I'm very excited, though. Sunday, I'm going to be on Sledgehammer Horror's channel to rank all the Evil Deads.
That's awesome. I think I missed this one from Shane H. Wilder, unless I'm just losing it. He says, glad? You mean the trash bag company is worried about gays in cinema? Seems sus.
I mean, it's very appropriate. Oh, they're the trash bag company. Don't you worry.
Not that Jon Stewart with a member chat said watching delayed. Wow, I didn't know that. All right. Moon at Noon sent us 99 cents with a sticker of a sunglass emoji. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Missed that one. All right. Where am I leaving off here? Shane H. Wilder says, isn't the whiz with Whitey's just the Wizard of Oz?
Yes, it is. However, if they were to do The Wiz with it, see, that's what I love. The Wiz. It wasn't a race swap. They took the general premise and turned it into something completely original that's so creative and is really good. The music is amazing. I grew up watching it. Like, if you absolutely must do a race swap, at least create something new, and that's what The Wiz did. Also, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Quincy Jones, Nipsey Russell. Oh my God, have you seen The Wiz?
No. I like really historically accurate stage plays like Hamilton.
You can watch Hamilton, but not The Wiz.
I've never seen Hamilton. I'm being sarcastic.
Thank you, me neither. I have no desire whatsoever.
I will always love Lin-Manuel Miranda for his portrayal of his character on House, but other than that, I have no opinion.
He was on House?
He played an asylum patient for a couple of episodes on House who really annoyed House, so he was good.
I love it.
All right. Pop Culture Junkie says moral relativism is a curse on our society and its shitty cousin, situational ethics.
Thank you. There's nothing worse than the moral relativism of these people who, they hate Christians, but, I always say to them, I'm like, cool, I will buy you a ticket. Pick the Muslim theocracy of your choice that you want to go to. You could go to Iran. You could go to Saudi Arabia. You could go to your beloved Palestine. Go there. If you're a woman, you're a gay, go there and report back your findings. Oh, but they won't do that, of course.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, everyone talks about Night of the Living Dead being about race, but that Ben was not written to be black. They just thought Dwayne Jones was the best for it. Well, that just shows you how far film critique can go, depending on how much race is on your mind.
Yeah, it's on these people. It's on their mind all the time.
Shane H. Wilder says, it took me 2 months to get Power Rangers out of my algorithm, and then you bring them up. Damn it to hell!
Oops. So, well, you know what? Better Power Rangers than AIDS pills.
I've been watching videos about weight loss influencer drama. It's absolutely unhinged.
Really?
Yep, it's hilarious. Makes me laugh.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Greg Duvier says, it is not reality TV. It is scripted. It is all fake. They make people become characters. No one is allowed to be their real selves. Well, real selves are usually boring.
Who's the real self anymore?
Yeah. I'm my real self on this channel. That's
you are.
That's it.
True.
I'm my real self. I'm far too boring to be a character on here.
And I'm too crazy and annoying to be anything else.
There you go. Skate Man says, hi, Brett. Hope you had a good birthday. We did what we could under the circumstances. Missing my boy too much. Have a good time. Well, I hope you're doing well. I don't know what the circumstances are, but I hope you're doing okay. And I did have a good birthday, except for the fact that I felt under the weather, which is a historical thing that seems to happen to me, or used to happen to me a lot. I used to somehow, not so sick that I would be in bed, but I would always wake up feeling under the weather on my birthday.
Aw.
But that's okay. Shane H. Wilder says, if you think Ghetto Cowboy is unhinged, listen to Bone Thugs' Ecstasy All I can say is, damn. Shane, I'm just glad to know that as a Catholic, you listen to, know, and can remember lyrics from Bone Thugs and Harmony songs. It fills me with joy.
I've never heard of this.
Guys, we're getting dangerously close. Let's get to a crisis party, please. Come on.
I want a boogie.
Mike needs to dance.
Let's do it.
Champagne Grizzly says, Mikey, what's your favorite Big Brother season / player?
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Okay. Big Brother 2 through 10 are just works of art. They're iconic. Favorite of all, 3 was the one that I first watched. Okay, my favorite of all time, I think, has to be Danielle Reyes. She was robbed. I want her to come back so badly, but I got like my Mount Rushmore. Obviously Dan Giesling, but that's a common answer. I will say Big Brother 4, Allison and June, greatest final 2 ever. Oh my God, Allison Irwin from Big Brother 4 needs to come back because this girl did everything to win. She gave out hand jobs for votes. She was, oh my God.
What was the actual prize for winning?
$500,000, not even $1 million.
Okay.
But she did everything but murder people for it. I love June from season 4. Vanessa is one of my all-time favorites from 17. I think 17 was probably one of the few modern seasons that I liked. Oh my God. And obviously Janelle. Janelle followed me on Twitter the other day, so I'm fangirling. Can you believe it, Brett? Janelle.
Does she still do the show? Is she like still involved?
She got robbed on. They did another All Stars
because they do all sorts of all these reality shows now. Like bring back the people that everybody likes, right?
You gotta watch The Traitors. You would love The Traitors.
That's the one with like real celebrities, right?
No, they sort of take the best players from all the reality shows. Like Janelle was on it, Dan Giesling, Parvati. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Okay,
you would love Janelle though. They did the worst All Stars that in 2020, Small Stars, and they brought in Janelle, who is an icon, is a queen, and they stick her in a house with all these non-confrontational, like nothing players, and they all just ganged up on her and took her out because she's so iconic. So she got screwed. She needs another chance.
All right, Broody Gambit over on Rumble, thank you so much, says April had already been race swapped in Rise of the TMNT, so not much of a problem. Worst problem was casting Chinese Jackie Chan as Japanese character Splinter, like Asian cultures are interchangeable. Yes, that is pretty, hallmark for Hollywood. But then again, Will Smith played the genie. I don't know if there's a culture involved there, but what the culture is involved there is for the genie, but I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be Will Smith.
It's Blue Erasure.
Blue Erasure. The Aserius Man says Evil Dead 2 is greater than Army of Darkness, is greater than Evil Dead 1, is greater than Ash vs. the Evil Dead, is greater than ?
I'm with you. Yeah, I think 2 is my favorite also. What I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to marathon all of them. I need to rewatch every single one.
So
and
you
then
can rank them?
You
can rank them? Yeah.
I haven't seen the first one in a really long time.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, reset the house counter. Yeah, that's fine. That's true. You can reset the house counter. The sad thing is I don't even watch it that much these days. Though I have noticed something that 5 years ago, I think I would have pined for the early seasons of the shows that I grew up loving. But lately I found myself, perhaps because I never finish rewatches, I always rewatch until I lose interest again and then stop. I've been rewatching the middle and later seasons of a lot of shows that I normally only rewatch the early seasons of. Like a Burn Notice, I'm rewatching seasons 5 and 6, whereas normally I rewatch through the end of season 4 and then would kind of fall off when he kind of goes back to work for the CIA.
I gotta watch that. I haven't.
Thank you. The light wasn't on. You got the light on now.
My light is haunted and just does that on its own. So
there you go. All right.
Woo!
Let's see here. Champagne Grizzly says, yes, Big Brother 2, Chilltown.
Chilltown, baby.
Uh,
These shows used to be so nasty that season there was a chick who cleaned the toilet with somebody's toothbrush.
yeah.
There was once a season of Survivor where there was a girl with one leg, and then there was this other chick, this black chick, Nayanka, who was a bitch, and we love her for it. She, to get a clue to an advantage, tackled the girl with one leg, tried to pop her leg off and burn it in the fire. Now that is my kind of reality TV.
Yep.
That would never happen now in the nice era.
Shane H. Wilder says, sure, I listen to Bone Thugs. I contain multitudes. Yes, you do, my friend. High Voltage 75 says, wake up, it's the first of the month. Yep, he says, been living rent-free in my head for decades. It's an amazing song. Everyone should listen to it. I love songs about welfare. Robert James says, if Armie said that, why he and Uwe Boll on Film Threat? Look, I don't know. That's the point. I'm saying that this was a report on Puck News. It could be taken at face value, and he could be trying to walk it back. Like, I will say that we live in a world now where media moves so fast that a particularly duplicitous person can say one thing on one podcast and then say something completely different, knowing that it will reach a completely different audience. There are people in the conservative news space that post one opinion to Facebook and a different opinion to X because they're different audiences. So is it possible? Is it possible that he said that, that he did that on Film Threat? I didn't watch that. But then also said something like that because he was trying to get it out there because he's trying to win back the good graces of the mainstream Hollywood press. That's possible. Is it possible that this just was made up whole hog? That is also possible, which I addressed in the thing. It's possible. I don't think he'll be accepted back into mainstream Hollywood. And here's the ironic part about it. He is more likely to be blacklisted from Hollywood because of Citizen Vigilante than he is because of the weird cannibal fetishist stuff, because Hollywood loves degenerates. Mm-hmm. He would have eventually been forgiven for his degeneracy, not so much for his movie.
His crime is not being a degenerate. It's being white and straight and a degenerate. If he were not any of those things, they'd throw him a parade. This is everything that these people celebrate. Oh, by the way, someone in chat asked what was on my desk. Chucky Duck.
Is that crocheted?
No,
is
it's
it
like
plastic?
I won. I played poker and I won, and someone gave me a Chucky Duck.
Okay.
I have a Ghostface one too. I don't know where he is.
Skate Man. Wow, Brett, your memory is bad. Yeah, I told you a couple weeks ago he passed. Oh, yes. Oh man, I am so sorry, dude. That is absolutely my fault. Look, I have the worst memory in the world sometimes, especially when we're doing the show and we're doing multiple things. I am so sorry again for your loss. And I lost my mom. And it's like when you lose family, it's always difficult. I can't imagine losing, that's awful, man. And thank you so much for watching, and our thoughts and prayers are with you.
I'm so sorry. I hope you're doing okay and staying strong.
It has been a couple of weeks, but that's the type of thing that I was like, what? Now I didn't think about it until he said it there. That must have been 2 weeks ago, but all right. The Serious Man says, only big bro I saw was with Ricky Gervais on Extras.
Was he on it in there? So it's very different in other countries. In other countries, it's just like a popularity contest that the viewers vote. But here it's sort of like Survivor. It's like a game. By the way, there's also Big Brother Canada, which was really good the first few seasons. And then you're not going to believe what it turned into. They were literally doing land acknowledgements in every episode, and every person, I'm here to represent my fellow men in dresses and the queer trans of color. I can't.
I'm
unwatchable.
I'm waiting for more Polish representation.
Where are all the Italians? Did you see Mamdani took Little Italy off the map of immigrant communities?
Is it like, did it like run?
They eat our food, they take our culture, they watch our movies, but they don't like the Italians.
Is it like, did you guys just run out? Like you have like, you're only allowed to be an immigrant community for X amount of years, and after that you're no longer, it doesn't count anymore?
It's like the paper bag test. If you're darker than that, you're allowed to be the immigrant community.
Oh boy.
Otherwise, no.
All right. Where did I leave off here? Greg Duvier says, now tell me what you gonna do when there ain't nowhere to run, and what you gonna do when there ain't nowhere to hide, when judgment comes for you. What you gonna do, brother?
What you gonna do when they come for you, bad boys, bad boys?
High Voltage 75 says, Mike, did you see the Survivor where they split the tribes up by race? Something they'd never do today.
Cook Islands. Hell yeah. That was a pretty good season too. Oh, they would never do that now. Can you imagine?
Didn't they also do one where like the men paired off and the women paired off, and the men got everything done and the women just didn't get anything done?
Oh, they did it twice. You got to watch the season Vanuatu. It is like a revenge movie. It is. You could not have scripted it better. It's so good. It's so good. I mourn for what these shows used to be. They were so good.
All right.
Because they used to get a lot of like rednecks and truckers and just the average American. And now it's just all a bunch of influencer wannabes and people who got the personality of a friggin' turnip.
Well, yeah, they can all turn it into careers now. It's no longer, you know.
That's really like their only goal in being on this. They do nothing and just, I hate it. I hate it.
Straight Rippin says, I like Toidos. Thank you. We do too. Not That John Stewart says, hostage party? Still watching delayed. Yes, we are still delayed, we are still going, my friend. Technically, it's a hostage party. Greg Duvier says, I like Toidos. The left lane is for crime. Yes, it is. High Voltage 75 says, fun fact, all tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. You learn something new.
The more you know.
The more you know, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this episode, please, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you've not subscribed here yet already. We would appreciate it if you went and did that. Mike, where can they find you?
You can find me on X at not Mike Harlow, or my YouTube channel, just my name, Mike Harlow. Mike like Tyson, Harlow like Gene. I don't know if you guys are aware, but today is a double feature. So tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, this wonderful man right here will be joining us live on my channel on my stream Pimpcast. We talk all sorts of nerdy stuff, movies, pop culture, cringy stuff, all of the above. I'll be joined by my amazing co-hosts, Vaughn Coleman, who's an amazing comic book author, and my buddy Drew Outstanding, who is a veteran that's amazing in everything he does. So check it out tonight, Pimpcast, on my channel, Mike Harlow, 8 p.m. Eastern, with the king of all nerds, even if he doesn't identify as one.
I do not identify. I do not. That's stolen valor to call me a nerd, ladies and gentlemen. The real nerds are they're a class unto themselves. I will say though that they asked beforehand. They said, pick some movies that you like between 1977 and 2007, and I went ham because there's a lot of movies that I love from the 90s. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys want to follow me, Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It's a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then. Bye, everybody.